Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? Of course, the moment I start filming, an airplane goes overhead. Today we're going to be playing with some goodies from Unearthly Cosmetics. I went to a trip recently. They sponsored our brunch and gave us a goodie bag with their newest eyeshadow palette, some highlighters, some lippies, and I have not tried Unearthly Cosmetics since their rebrand, so I'm really excited to sit down and try them with y'all today. I know y'all were curious for my opinions, and the palette's beautiful. The highlighters look beautiful. Unfortunately, there's 4 new ones. I accidentally ended up with 2 of these same highlighters, so I only have 3 of the 4 to show you, but I'm sure you'll enjoy the video nonetheless. I did own 4 little quads from when they were Alien Cosmetics, and I wasn't personally impressed with the quality, but I've seen a lot of my fellow creators here on YouTube try their new brand and just rave about their palettes, so I'm excited to give them a second chance, and I'm hoping that I will love them as well. So the star of the show is definitely this eyeshadow palette. It is called the Don't Be Jelly palette, and the packaging of this box is just beautiful. I have a fear of jellyfish. Like, this is okay, but like in real life, absolutely not. When I was younger, I got stung really bad. Ugh, they give me the EBGBs, but as far as color stories go, I can see how they would be inspirational. So here's the actual packaging, and here is the palette. Look how pretty. The shimmers look stunning. It's definitely a very colorful palette when it comes to the mattes as well. So I know y'all are already thinking, actually, it's probably not you. It's like that stupid little constructive devil on my shoulder that's like, they're gonna judge you for wanting to not do a bold eye look. Maybe we can do something with like the purples and the greens. That's what I'm feeling just looking at the palette. And like I said, we also have some highlighters to try out, which these are very duochrome, sparkly looking highlighters. And I love the size of the packaging. Like, I feel like they're pretty small highlights, and I appreciate that for something that's a little bit more unnatural. Maybe something you'll use on your cheeks sometimes on your eyes, a highlighter that you won't go through as fast, like if you have the same kind of preferences as me. So this size seems perfect. And then the lippies, the packaging on these is so cool. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's giving snow globe. Okay, ready? I'm so easily amused. So the very first shade is Salty, which looks to be a white with a bluey purple shift, kind of duochrome. And then we have Sea Space, which is a kind of deeper indigo purple blue shifting shadow. I will say that like the texture looks very intense. Swatching them, I can feel a touch of graininess, but overall they feel pretty smooth. And then next we have Sea Urchin, which looks like such a pretty, super deep purple. Look at that. That is going on my eyelids today, or at least my outer V. So here's the first 3 swatches. Oh, that's so sparkly. Okay. So the matte is swatching a little bit softer, but that's okay. Swatches are just about seeing the color. They only tell us so much. Oh, that builds up nice. I do want to note that immediately my fingers are staining red, so that might be something to keep in mind. Next, we have probably the shade I'm most excited about. It's called Hydra Space. It looks like the prettiest, like bluey, purpley green multi-chrome. Okay, so it looks more textured, but then when you touch it, it's more like silky, creamy, multi-chrome texture, because some multi-chromes are thick and some are just like cream, oil kind of feeling, but I say that like in the most positive way, not oily in a bad way. Anyways, look at that. So pretty. Next we have Sea Star, which is a bright purple matte, super pigmented. And then we have Brine or Breen. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. This is a super sparkly, looks like a duochrome, kind of light blue to a green shift. The shades are not that different from one another, so it's more subtle, but it's very pretty. Onto the second row, next we have the shade Lagoon, which is a very bright, vibrant cobalt blue matte. We've got Aquatic, which, let's see, it's kind of like a bluey purple, but a little bit more on the soft side. Reminds me of a shadow from Divina, but Lord knows I can't remember the name. And then another shade I'm really excited about, this one, Luminescence. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. It's like a purple, blue, gold. It reminds me of, I think it's Royalty from Cleona. Like that, just like princess multi-chrome vibe. I don't know, it's so cute. I'm not exactly sure how much this palette costs. I will check and leave it in the description box. Like I said, I'm not that familiar with Unearthly Cosmetics, but just from swatching everything, I feel like the textures and everything are really beautiful and super nice. Like definitely we've got some fun shifts going on, so I'm curious to see what it's priced at. Lastly, we have Coral. Got another Plain. It's just one of those days, huh? So that is a really beautiful, like rusty, deep coral. I wouldn't look at it and think, oh, that's a coral. Actually, it might be named after a coral reef if I had to guess. Next we have Jellyfish, which is another duochrome. This one is a little bit more of like a lavendery purple with a golden shift. And then lastly, we have Seafoam, which is such a pretty seafoam matte green. Again, seems really opaque. I feel like this palette is definitely for the color lovers. I'm excited to try the formula on my eyes because the swatches look really, really pretty. Okay, now let's go ahead and swatch out these highlighters. So this first one here is called Mirage, and it looks to be like a golden shift. Let's see. Okay, so it is like definitely a silky, creamy kind of texture, and it is very intense. Like for me, I don't know, like that doesn't scream highlighter just because I've been going for more of like a natural glow from within, being very boring, but that looks like it would be such a pretty eyeshadow. Like even if you just did that like on the inner corner all over the lid. Oops. I'm a little too excited to put it on. There's Mirage. Ooh, look at that. Are you kidding? It also looks like it has a bit of green to it. And then next we have the shade Spectre, which seems to have like a little bit of a purple iridescence. This one is creamy, but not quite as creamy as the previous one, but it still feels really nice. I don't know if you can see it has like a tiny bit of chalkiness there, but I think that's just where the logo is. I don't think that will show up if you use it. I don't think that's gonna show up with regular. I don't think that's really gonna show up with regular use, but let's swatch it out. Oh, that's intense. It's like a super vibrant purple. And then lastly, like I said, I am missing one shade, but we have Spellbinding here, which this one looks like another kind of like yellowy moment, but it's more of like a yellowy pinky shade. So pretty, so intense. Okay, here is Spellbinding. Look how beautiful those are. Let's swatch out the lippies too. Hopefully we can do a look that will work with these so I can test them out. It does say they are satin liquid lipsticks. So we have the shade Aura. Okay, that is pretty. It definitely seems like a very like fall lippy to me. And then we also have Kaylina. And this one looks like more of a grungy brown. Oh, sorry. Look how pretty that is. I think I'm going to start off with the shade Seafoam. Something about it is just calling to me, and I think it might be a cute inner corner moment. So I'm just grabbing that on a small, fluffy blending brush and just going to place that on the inner corner first before we do any other matte work. Just to kind of lay that down. It's going into my crease. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just can't help myself. It's so pretty. Let's go into this purple next, the shade Sea Star. It's super pigmented, so I'm definitely tapping off the excess, and then we can go ahead and start that off on the outer V and then start bringing that inwards. Just trying to use this as more of a transition shade, but it is very, very pigmented, so that's why I'm being real gentle with it. And I'm not gonna blend too much between the purple and the green because I don't want it to get muddy. I feel like that's shearing out pretty easily and it's not getting patchy or anything like that, which sometimes when you're going in with such a pigmented color like this, that can tend to be the case. All right, next I'm gonna dip into this shade right here called Sea Urchin. Just gonna grab that on a small little blendy brush. I'm very excited for this because this shade looks stunning. So just gonna go ahead and tap that on right here. Just kind of getting that little V shape going. I always try to press the shadow down first and then start blending, especially when I want it to be deep and bold. And honestly, like I said, this shade did need to be built up a little bit when I swatched it, but on the eyes, like, it's super pigmented, no issues. Gonna blend that out to my best ability with the small brush, and then we'll go back into the bigger fluffy brush that we used. So like I said, just going with that bigger brush and just gonna go over the edge, just kind of softening that out a little bit. I'm gonna grab some Sea Urchin to put on my lower lash line. You know the deal, I like to connect. I kind of want to take a little liner brush and just line with Sea Urchin as well, just because it is so pretty and I feel like it'll add a little extra depth to the look without being a black shadow. And I'm really not worried. Ooh, ow. I'm really not worried about it being perfect because we're gonna go in with some lid shades still, and this is just like a little extra something. It does not matter that much. I mean, honestly, anything we do doesn't matter that much. Like, it's makeup. It washes off at the end of the day. I think I'm gonna go back in with my little blendy brush and just like slightly blend this area right here together. Now let's play with some shimmers. Honestly, this is hard. This is very hard to decide because everything is so beautiful. I mean, I feel like Hydraspace and Luminescence definitely were my favorite when I was swatching. I don't know for the lower lash line yet. I'm just gonna start off with Hydraspace. Oh my goodness. I'm dog sitting for a friend and their dog just made the cutest whine ever. What's wrong, Arthur? He's the chillest dog. Like, I would definitely have him out and not in his kennel right now while I'm filming, except for then my dog would get jealous, and she's a little puppy and she cannot be settled down when I'm filming. Like, she has to go in her kennel. So it's a whole thing, but Arthur is a cutie pie. So anyways, going in with Hydraspace. Yes. I'm gonna put that on the inner half because it does have that green, so I feel like it'll look good over the seafoam matte. Look how pretty that is. I'm also not getting any fallout because it is more of like a creamy formula. Even though it looks really sparkly, nothing is falling down. Okay, so you could definitely stop there, but obviously I'm not going to. I'm gonna take some of Luminescence now. Not even gonna bother cleaning my finger because who cares? Just gonna pop that on the outer half. Oh my goodness, do you see that? Oh, that looks so cool. Like the green shift that's happening. So I think maybe we can add a little bit more green to the lower lash line just to like add more of that pop. So I'm gonna go into the shade Brine or Breen. This green is not wanting to pick up that well with my pencil brush. I'm kind of like scrubbing it in there. Let me see. Okay, it's picking up a little bit, but I feel like the shimmers, because they are so creamy, might be one of those formulas that just works better with your finger. So you guys have an idea what I'm saying. Like, I'm like doing this and like it's coming off, but it's definitely needing to be built up. I really like how that's looking, but I'm kind of sad at the same time because I really want to use one of these highlighters on my eyes because they're so cute. but I don't even know which way I would incorporate them. Maybe I'll just go in with a little bit of Spellbinding, the pink, for my cheeks and just use it as a highlighter, even though I said I wasn't going to. Okay, it's definitely very pink, but it looks soft on the skin. It does have a little bit of a gray cast, if you guys can see that. That's fine. I'm just gonna kind of blend it out, and then I'll go in with a blush over top and try to kind of cover that up a little bit. My only complaint is that it's not blending effortlessly into the skin. You can see a gray cast on both sides. And I do have some highlighters that are very intense multi-chromes that don't do that. So as kind of my expectation at this point from makeup brands, but I'm just gonna go into the Prairie Air blush from ColourPop. I've been loving this recently. Just gonna go ahead and just add some pink blush, kind of blend it in. The palette is $60, so it's definitely not a super affordable palette, but like I said, there are a bunch of multi-chromes in there, and I'm pretty sure that they do have affiliate codes. I don't have one with them, but I'm sure you could find one real easy. So let's go ahead and do some mascara. I'm just gonna use the Ilia Fullest Volume Mascara. So I debated using one of these lipsticks. I was like holding both of them up, and I don't feel like either of them goes quite perfectly with the look that we've got going on. So I went ahead and just pulled something else out of my goodie bag from the trip. So this is the ColourPop Lippy Stick in the shade Oh Snap. I grabbed this because I used to own it years ago. I think I remember it being like a really pretty kind of like light mauve-y shade. I don't know. I think it could go with this look. So I'm just gonna throw that on. Okay, it is very matte, but that shade is so pretty. So my second impression of Unearthly Cosmetics, or my first impression of them since the rebrand, whatever you want to call it, I feel like I'm pretty impressed. The highlighters, I don't know that they're my perfect personal preference for the cheeks, but they swatched so beautifully. I will definitely be using them as eyeshadows, especially, which was the first one that I swatched? I think it was Mirage. I feel like Mirage was just like above and beyond so beautiful. And as far as the palette goes, I'm giving it a hesitant A+, because obviously I need to try it out more, use it more in the future, see how it wears throughout the day. But I feel like the inspiration, the packaging is beautiful. I love how it's something different, but it's still sturdy and it feels nice. I love the color story. I feel like it's fun, it stands out. I love the shimmer shades that were chosen in here. Like, they're just beautiful, fun, colorful options. We've got multi-chromes, we've got duochromes, we've got texture, we've got sparkles. I mean, that's all a girl could ask for. As far as the mattes go, I feel like my personal preference would be to have maybe like one more like soft shade just to blend everything else out with. I know, I'm so boring, but I can see how it'd be appealing. The shades that are in here, why they're really nice, and how many different directions you could go with these mattes. So I do appreciate that, and I can see what other people would appreciate that. So I guess you could say that this second impression has changed my mind, because if there are any palettes in the future that come out from Unearthly and I like the color story, I would definitely purchase them, no questions asked. So I'm happy. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.